Hello and welcome back to my channel, One Punch Will. I'm William Stephen, and this is the second episode of taking a trip down memory lane in professional wrestling. And as I said in the last episode, this one's an Undertaker special. Now, the Phenom. His career started in 1990 with the WWE with this gimmick. So many matches I could have picked from, to his two encounters with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, to the two following with Triple H, to the numerous others at WrestleMania, to his matches with The Rock, his feud with his brother Kane, his feud with Edge, Randy Orton, Yokozuna, the matches with Bret Hart. The list is endless. So which match did I fall on? Well, I think for most fans, there's one match that stands above the rest, and it takes place in 1998 at King of the Ring. It is a Hell in a Cell match with Mankind, Mick Foley, and I don't know if that day that both participants knew what they were achieving in the business. They was achieving a standard high bar for every preceding Hell in a Cell match to try and live up to. This was a classic between two greats in the business. I don't really know how much more praise one could give the Undertaker to have the career he had and the character. I've seen many interviews and people said he lived and breathed that character, and as a spectator, you could tell that even when he was American Badass, he was still the Undertaker in terms of the fear and respect that came emanating off of him when he was sat at home watching his matches. Every movement in the ring and in his promos and his entrance was all slow and deliberate to build this atmosphere that he wanted, and his ability for a man of his size to move as he did, taking dives over the top rope, to do the walk along the top rope, things you'd expect of cruiserweights, he was doing at his size, and it was just incredible. There won't be someone like him. He's one of a kind. I think now with wrestling gimmicks, it's hard for people to stay in character, for you as the audience to be, for that moment in time if you're watching, to be so entranced and in belief of the character, because I think the ability to keep kayfabe is a lot harder these days. And I'm not saying there isn't the talent out there. It's just a different business, and the Undertaker is probably the last of a dying breed, and probably the best of that breed. Truly a one of a kind talent, and this match just exemplifies that. And to his opponent, every great match takes two participants. And Mankind, aka Mick Foley, we all know his various gimmicks, either Dude Love or Cactus Jack. I mean, the Attitude Era fans will obviously remember the Mankind persona more, and probably go down as one of the greatest hardcore wrestlers of all time. You just have to look at the various matches he had in either ECW, his matches in Japan, which he even lost part of his ear, his backstage brawls, the guy, quit matches. His, just his ability to give and take punishment is, I wouldn't say unmatched, because people will probably scream at me, what about Tommy Dreamer, what about New Jack? But in terms of mainstream wrestling, his ability to give and take punishment is like no other, and especially taking the bumps he took. And it's not just this match. You can look at his, like I say, you can look at his various matches, and the bumps he takes is like no other. And how he does it, how he sells, he will go down as one of the greats for this. I know people say might want to say judge a wrestler on his technical ability, but which which Mick Foley, Mankind never I wouldn't say he didn't have technical ability, but it wasn't of the highest quality. But this is an entertainment business as much as anything else, and he entertained. People loved watching him, rightly or wrongly. We all loved Mankind. We all love Mankind and Mick Foley, including myself on this. It was just brilliant to watch, and subsequent years, since his retirement, he's become one of the personalities in the business that we all just love. To hear him talk, reminisce. It's just as a personality, as a wrestling fan, is one that we all adore. Anyway, that's enough build up and praising the two participants. To the match itself, King of the Ring 1998. Now, I've took some notes on this because I wanted to do it justice, going a bit more into the detail of everything and give you a proper history of the build up to the match and slightly, and then me just talking, waxing lyrical about the match itself. Now, the feud between these two was long in its creation. You probably have to go back to the night after WrestleMania 12 in '96. Undertaker was having a match against Justin Hawk Bradshaw, which people will know later became Bradshaw in the Acolytes APA, and then came JBL as a singles competitor. Later became on to be WWE champion. Anyway, Mankind interfered in this match. Then there was various brawls that took place between the two. But the next big episode in this feud took place at In Your House, the show, where Undertaker was challenging Goldust, another great character, for the Intercontinental Championship. Mankind's interference cost Taker the title, basically, so that intensified the relationship. And the ensuing matches that came afterwards, the stipulation was so crazy. In that year we had the Boiler Room match at SummerSlam, in which Paul Bearer turned on Undertaker reaching for the urn and Paul Bearer pulling it away. We had then a subsequent In Your House show, we had the Buried Alive match, which the Undertaker initially won, but after interviewing some other competitors and the Executioner, Undertaker was also buried. This culminated in that year with the Survivor Series, with Paul Bearer suspended above the ring, and if Undertaker won, he would finally get his hands and get his revenge on Paul Bearer. Undertaker did win, but again at the hands of the Executioner and others, Paul Bearer managed to escape punishment. Now, there was a lull in the rivalry for a period. Undertaker would go on and win the WWE Championship, would add this Lord of Darkness persona to his gimmick. It, Mankind would go on and have various rivalries and matches, but then we would return to the feud in June 1998. It's a Raw episode which saw Mankind and reunite with Paul Bearer as his manager, and like I said, this reignited the rivalry, which led to the Hell in a Cell match in 1998. And boy, this was a good card throughout, but it culminated in this match. And where to begin? I mean, Mankind's entrance. He comes in with a steel chair and immediately climbs to the top. Undertaker then enters with his slow, methodical entrance, and seeing Mankind at the top, he pursues, and then the ball breaks out. Mankind doesn't give Undertaker much of a opportunity to establish himself on the top, going straight after him with the chair. Anyway, the culmination of this brawl on top of the cage that started the match ends with possibly one of the greatest spots in wrestling, one of the greatest moments. If you were to do a top 10 list or top whatever list of great moments in wrestling, this would appear in the top 5, maybe top 3. It would appear. Undertaker throws Mankind off the top of the Hell in a Cell. Straight, and you just gasped. And then when you saw him fall, he lands and shatters the Spanish announce table. And everyone's in awe, and you have JR, Jim Ross, possibly one of the greatest commentators in wrestling, and I will never forget this. Good God Almighty, that killed him. As God as my witness, that broke him in half. Now, I apologise for the JR impression. I can't do it well. But just JR, it's like, oh my God. Just relaying all the emotions we are having at home watching this match. And it was just, in his southern drawl, everyone was sucked into the drama, and JR just encapsulated it in that moment of commentary. And we then go to Mankind being forlorn, his legs under the metal railing, all the EMTs are coming round, Vince, Terry Funk, who's there helping, and another hardcore legend. They're all helping, and so you think the match is over. They put him on a stretcher, they're wheeling him away. One of the most craziest things about this match is, as they're putting him on the stretcher and they're wheeling him around, the cell is rising with Undertaker still on top. I mean, I'm scared of heights. I'd be fucking freaking out right now. But Undertaker stood there on the top, just peering down at what he's done. And it's just incredible. So anyway, they start wheeling Mankind to the back, and there's a few seconds delay. Then all of us, they took off his mask at this point and everything. All of a sudden, like the dead man himself, or a crazy person who should be locked up, Mankind just stands up and dashes back to the ring and climbs back to the top. So at this point, they had been lowering the cell to obviously let Undertaker down. But no, Mankind goes back up, and they go fighting again, and all top, and it ends with a spot of Undertaker choke slamming Mankind through the top of the Hell in a Cell to the ring below. And I'm just looking up my notes of this because I didn't want to quote it and then someone come back to me and go, "Oh, you've misquoted it." So again, JR doing what he does best. Good God, will somebody stop the damn match? Enough is enough. And then you got Lawler going, "That's it, he's dead." And again, it's just perfect. This duo, I said JR was the greatest, and he is, but he was great because he also had the perfect foil in Jerry Lawler. And again, this moment encapsulates that, and it was encapsulated on what we as a fan was viewing. I know it's all pre-scripted and whatever, but when you're watching matches, you forget all that. You're sucked into the drama, and they caught our emotions as a fan. I know I'm talking like this. I'm like giddy as a schoolboy because that's what I was when I was watching the match. And when I was rewatching the match yesterday, all these emotions came back. It was incredible. And the match wasn't over. We continued. And the punishment Undertaker was giving out, and Mankind's resiliency to come back and give punishment. I mean, there was some great spots in the match. That part where Mick Foley's sat in the corner, blood coming out of his mouth, and he's looking to the camera, and he's smiling, taking this punishment, blood pouring from his mouth, and he's smiling like a madman. And you're like, what's it gonna take to take him down? And it just gives some damage to the Undertaker, throwing him into the side of the Hell in a Cell, into the posts. I was putting on the mandible claw. Or he did give out punishment, but it will always be known as the match will always be known for the punishment that he took. Now there's a spot where Mankind has got the Undertaker down. Mankind goes to the underneath the ropes and gets out this bag, and he proceeds to pour it out, and it's thumbtacks. And you think, and he's trying his best to position the Undertaker to so he can slam him onto the thumbtacks, but no, the Undertaker does it to Mankind not only once, he does it twice. Back body drop onto it, and then he also does a tombstone onto. It was just when he stood up from the first slam, and he stood up, and it's all in his back, and it's like he's superhuman. No one should be able to take this pain, but Mankind does. And God, does he sell it, and was sucked in. It's just unbelievable. It was fantastic as a viewing, and Undertaker obviously goes on to win this match, but it's Undertaker played this role of Punisher so well. And again, it's because there's no wasted movement. Some people want to rush the movement and rush through the match. He makes everything look deliberate. It's slow and deliberate, so you're enticed into this kind of almost mythical arbiter of darkness and punishment, and he plays it brilliantly in this match. And then Mankind's, like I said, he just takes it, sells it, and delivers in you believing he's a madman who's like Jason from Friday the 13th will just keep coming back. It's a brilliant match. Absolutely brilliant. And I would recommend anyone to go and watch it. I could have, like I said, I could have talked about other Undertaker matches. I was very tempted to do my favourite WrestleMania match of his, which was against Batista as well, but I knew I was going to go over time and wax lyrical about this, so you've got just the one match. I hope you enjoyed my history and summary of the match. In the next episode of A Walk Down Wrestling's Memory Lane, I am not going to do one match. I'm going to look at a pay-per-view. I'm going to discuss the WCW's Great American Bash from 1997. And after inspiration from listening to Eric Bischoff's podcast and just remembering some of the matches. So, again, thank you for listening, and I'll get back to you soon.